What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome, Whiskey Wednesday night, to the Mash and Drum Whiskey Room. How's everybody doing tonight? I'm Jason C., your host. Welcome to the show. While you're here, like, subscribe, do all the things you need to do. Really appreciate everyone coming in on this, which is sure to be a really fun Whiskey Wednesday night with everybody. Not only are we talking about some of my, leaders and favorites already for 2023, which has been a little rough. There wasn't, that many standouts, I think, in 2023. And I think that's something I wanted to kind of go over with everybody. So hope everybody's having a good time tonight. Hope everybody is let's see, not resting around the Michters from the get-go. Oh, yeah, that's right. We're jumping right in. This is the new Michters 10-year for 2023. I'll go through the press release for this and what they addressed with the whiskey shortages that they're having, what they're doing to combat that issue, and we'll get into some news. I have 2 blind tastings I'm doing tonight. The first one is and I don't know if he's watching, but Jonathan Shipman, he sent me basically a blind flight of his club picks. So I have no idea what they are. We're going to get to try them. I still need to train for Map Madness. I think the final is slated to be not this not this Friday, but I think the following Friday. I think it's going to be next, like a week from this Friday, will be the Map Madness finals between me and Dan Shook. So I have some more training to do, so I figured why not throw a couple blinds in tonight. So I have a completely blind tasting, and then I have a semi-blind where I know. So basically what I asked I asked my girlfriend to basically pour the grouping of bottles that I selected for kind of my favorites of the year. I told her just to take 5 of them, put them in a blind tasting, and let's see which one wins. So they could be really good. They could be not so great. I don't know. We'll see which ones. Well, I obviously like them all this year, so we'll see what was chosen. It wasn't that many to choose from, so we'll see how it goes. Yes, the 9th. So there you go, June 9th. No, it's June 9th. Yep, that is the day. Let me guess, JD12 is the front runner. I mean, it could be, but I had some really good bourbons, I thought, that were picked out. So we'll go through those. David Voth, I have a Rio on the way, so you should see that review next week. So I'm really excited to get into the Rio from Penelope, which is still crazy that it's going for that much money on secondary. I don't understand why. Like, I'm still trying to wrap my head around it because there's a million Amburanas now. None of those go for a hefty amount of money, but I know it's also Amburana plus honey. So does that make it worth $250, $260 on secondary? I don't know. I have never tasted it yet, so we'll see. Or did I? I think I actually did have a pour of it. I can't remember. I don't think I did. Yeah, that weekend I was in Kentucky. I was trying a lot of stuff. I can't remember if Rio was one of them. I don't think it was. I think it was another Amburana I had. But either way, you guys will see that next week. So, yeah. Yep, that's right. Mash it up while you're here. Definitely hit the like button. Really appreciate it, guys. Let's say hi to some people in the chat before things get crazy. Old Farm Show. He just said waiting. Well, you're here. Welcome in, Old Farm Show. William Wiley's here. What is going on, buddy? Jimmy Copeland is in the house. Chris Buzalencia, Danny Lynn, Tim looking gorgeous. Happy Whiskey Wednesday. Adam Shelton, what's going on, bud? Honest Charlie's here. Russ L, Michael S, Mark S, Everett Jarvis, Fred Gillett, Whiskey Juice. The juice is loose. Tim Cornet in the house. What's going on, Tim? We have Joey P's here. He goes, what's going on, Mash and Drum family? Sipping on some Peerless Double Oak Rye. How is that, Joey? How is that? Isaac Fufu in the house, a.k.a. Lance P. Cheers, everyone. Let's see. Crispy Bacon in the house. Jeff Perkins. Richie Z, the legend himself, is here. We said hi to David Voth. Kristen M is here. Nice to see you, Kristen. Ben Drammond. Josh Randall. Terrence Scott. Let's see. Matt Dart, Bo's Wine Guy. Josh Randall. And a bunch of other people coming in that I need to catch up with here. Let's see here. Whiskey No says, go Mets. Dude, stop lying to me, you damn Yankee fan. I see you. I see you, Whiskey Nose. Russell Crace is here. Jeff Winbush, what's going on? Sandeep Chima, how are you? Karen B. Ford, haven't seen you in a while. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for hanging out tonight. Jeepman 103 is here, and a bunch more of you coming in. So, yeah, let me know what you guys have poured already tonight. A lot of people have been asking me about the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof video that I posted yesterday. Is it actually not that great? Guys, I keep returning to it, and it's not doing it for me. It sucks. No, not that it sucks. Not that it sucks. I'm saying the fact that I don't like it sucks, or that I'm not crazy about it sucks. I mean, look, it's still a solid bourbon. It's still good, but when you try it amongst other ECBPs, because I was like comparing it to, I tried it against obviously A123. I put it against C922 from last year. I put it against B522 from last year, a couple of others, and there was a stark difference with that batch. I don't know. I'm actually hoping there's batch variation in the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. Like some people's bottles are better than mine, but mine just drinks hot. It's drying. It's oaky. There's not a lot going. It's missing the complexity you normally get from Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. Is it still like a decent bourbon? Yeah. I mean, it's almost 12 years. Well, I mean, there could be some older stuff in it, but 11 years, 5 months, oldest on the label. It still could be pretty. It's still got a good age for it, for what it is. But there's just something very disjointed to me about it. So, Outside Stars says, won my Russell 13 and drawing. I'm stoked to pour one up. Damn! Outside the Stars won a Russell's 13. That's awesome, man. Kenneth got Booker's. First one in a while. Not as good as No Strangers, but probably on the upper middle range of Booker's. I would actually agree with that, Kenneth. I'm not sure. It's been a while since I've had No Strangers batch, but I would agree with that tier that you have it at, upper middle range for the Charlie's batch for sure. Sean says Ludwig or Gretsch. Oh man, I would probably have to go Ludwig, and the only reason why I go Ludwig is because I was a huge fan of Alex Van Halen, and he played some of the most epic Ludwigs I've seen. So I'd probably go Ludwig. Let's see here. Hey, Daniel Kirby's here. What's up, Kerber? Nice to see you, man. Oh, Larceny B523. Have not seen that yet. Seagrass in the glass. Okay, so let's dive into this Michters 10-year. So recently they announced that this was coming back for this year. Obviously, you guys already know Michters 10-year came back after they skipped a year. Michters 10-year is basically bringing this back out during their product shortage issues was kind of a big deal for them, but they do have a strategy for it. So what Michters has been doing, it won't be enough to offset high national global appetite for the whiskey, but they added 6 18,000 gallons per fermentation tanks by Vendome Copper and Brass Works. They converted the Shively plant to 24/7 just late last year. And they've made a significant investment in its bottling operation, which went live just this year. So they've had a good amount of changes they're doing to try to combat the shortage in the whiskeys that they've been having, especially the upper tier ones as well. But they were starting to feel it as well in the lower tier. They're kind of their core range whiskeys. So they're trying to figure it out. But this is 92.8 proof. Which is an interesting proof for their rye whiskey. This is a $200 bottle now. I remember when this used to be $130, $140. Now it's $200. So it's really, gone up in price as of late. So, I mean, I guess we could see. Generally, I love Michter's 10-year rye. I've always thought that this was a lot better than a 10-year bourbon, but we'll see. All right, Whiskey Wednesday, let's go. Yeah, $200. 3 Toes Fury. 3 Toes of Fury. Yep. Adam Hinson's at the crew game. That's awesome, Adam. He says 3-1. Oh, damn, they're winning 3-1. Nice. Yeah, if you could even find it for 200, that's a really good call out from Albert Orozco. Yeah, I'll get into this Clermont Steep, Kenneth. I actually filmed the review for that, so I'll get into that. Having a poured Michter's toast in a moment, I break it out when there's a death. Who died? The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles bottle, says Blaine. I like that, Blaine. That's kind of a cool, I like that call out. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. All right, let's get into the nose of this one here. See what you guys are saying. I mean, the rye spice is there. It's definitely herbal, more of a tea / honey. I've always said it kind of reminds me of like a really good, like honey lemon ginger tea. Michter's 10-year, at least on the nose. It's definitely a super sweet rye. As far, let me see if they actually say anything about, they don't tell you the mash bill. So all they say is it's a Kentucky style rye with a good amount of corn and malted barley. So still playing the, still playing the secrecy game. I mean, I get it. Yeah, that was pretty funny. Michter's bourbon is good, but their ryes are special. I agree, Joey. I think their ryes is where it's at. All right, cheers, guys. Let's try it out. Wow, it's powerful. That's a powerful rye whiskey for the proof point. I mean, flavor-wise, not proof-wise. There's a lot of flavor going on. It's an absolute orange cinnamon bomb. A lot of the dark honey comes out, but it's kind of easy to drink at the same time. Again, that was my first sip. Big Vic says, Tuesday, what am I winning tonight? Nothing tonight, but next week I have some plans for some giveaways, so stay tuned for next week. Outside the Star says, so Jason, I chose the Russell's 13 over the Michter's 10-year rye. Hand to God. You know what? That's still a good choice, man. As good as the 10-year bourbon is from Michter's this year, I would still take a Russell's 13 over it, especially for getting it at retail, for sure. Yeah, that combination of mint, honey, slight chocolate note, very, very slight, not a whole lot. It's got a nice spice to it. This is very typical of a Michter's rye. I think, oh shit, Jimmy Copeland with a $20 super chat. Had the Michter's 10 bourbon this week at the distillery. Phenomenal. Missed the drop Friday, but got the special release of barrel strength bourbon Saturday. Oh, nice. Yeah, Jimmy, how good is the 10-year bourbon this year? It's so good. Russell's 13. Yeah, Three Toes of Fury. It's because, the guys that get it scoop it up. They scoop it up and they, you see them on secondary more often than not. Personally, for the money, I'd much rather have Michter's barrel strengths over the 10 years. Generally, I would agree with you, William, but I think the 10-year is, I think it's a really, really good rye whiskey. I don't think there's many ryes that can compete with at this proof point, the flavors it has. If you like Kentucky rye, it's definitely a sweeter rye. Yeah, drink's very light, very easy. The thing that's really cool about the Michter's 10-year rye that I've always liked, that even at a low proof, it carries a ton of flavor. And I feel like, man, if you're going to bring a $200 bottle out with that lower proof, it better bring the flavor. For a long time, the 10-year bourbon did not do that for me until this year. The 10-year rye has kind of always done that for me. Is it still a $200 bottle? No. But, people will buy it for $200 because people love this bottle. I mean, it is a pretty looking bottle. It's extremely unique. It does look pretty. I cannot get Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles now out of my head. I feel like I want to put a little, like a bandana on here. I think, oh man, who was my favorite? I think Raphael was my favorite Ninja Turtle. For sure. Is that a chupacabra on your hat? A chupacabra? No, it's a goat. GOAT, the goat. Master Drum, our dog died of acute renal failure Memorial Day. Oh my God, Rebecca, not a dog. Don't tell me about doggies passing away. I can't handle when the oh my God, raise your glass for Rebecca's doggy. You gotta take. Oh man, it's always tough when you lose a fur baby. I have a very deep, soft spot for dogs and just animals in general. Love them. I don't think we deserve dogs. They're too good. First concert was Van Halen, 1984. Amazing. Alex was upside down in a solo. I know I'm showing my age. Isaac, man, I'm right with you. My first concert I ever went to was Van Halen, but it wasn't 1984 though. It was shit. What album was that? It was the album with Dreams on it. So, yeah, Van Hagar, Van Halen, Van Hagar. That was the first Van Halen concert I saw. But I mean, Alex was still just pounding the crap out of those drums, man. M10 Rye versus Saz 18 would be a fun double bass. Yeah, I mean, I've only ever had a couple pours of Saz 18. It would be cool though. Have you reviewed the Hemingway Rye yet? No, but I've been hearing good things about that stuff. Cowabunga. What about Templeton 10-year Rye? What do you feel about that one? Blaine, that's a good question. I do like it for the price. I actually have one here. Oh, I think I have it right here. Look at that. Asking you shall receive. There it is. Templeton 10-year. You know what? We'll do a quick compare, man. This is what we do, Blaine. Let me make sure I have enough glasses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, whatever. I'll just clean it out. That's fine. All right. Let's do a quick compare. Now, this is MGP Rye, and this is Kentucky Rye. So let's do a quick compare. Justin Morin said the MT bourbon this year beat Eagle Rare 17 for me in a blind recently. I was shocked. I definitely see that happening. Eagle Rare 17 has always been a bourbon that has been very listen, it's a fantastic bourbon. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Eagle's Rare 17. I just don't think it's worth the hype around it. It's never really impressed me. I've always thought it's just been a really good version of Eagle Rare. Normally it's a little bit on the oaky side for me, but it does balance out the sweetness very well. I mean, listen, BTAC, it's William Lee Weller and George C. Stagg. Those are the two that are always hitters. But yeah, I could see that happening. Michelangelo was my favorite. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, 5150. Van Halen was my first concert. Oh, I love this. Funny, I don't hear anyone talking about Pikesville Rye anymore. You know why? Because the production of it slowed down pretty heavily during COVID. It took a while for it to get back out to market. It's still having a hard time getting it back out to market. It's just getting hard to find, or it's been a little bit hard to find for a little while here. Smoky Goat, have you tried the Ben Holiday Soft Red Wheat yet? Yeah, I actually have it right here. I think it's a fantastic whiskey. Fancy Franchi is here. She is a celeb. She is a Whiskey Tube Chat celeb. Have you had the 10-year Michters Rye side by side against Sagamore Double Oak? I feel they're similar with Michters, just a smidge better. I could see that, Anthony. I can't say I've had that. Can't say I've done that yet, but that's a good idea for a double bass. Smash Drum, so you tried any of the Sam Wild? They sent you one with that flight from shows ago. I had, Rebecca, I did try the Cast Strength Brothers Bond, which I actually thought was pretty good. I was 15 and Tom Petty was my first concert. So Van Halen for me, and then my second concert was Rush. Those are my two first concerts. Or was my first concert Rush? I've seen Rush. I saw Rush so many times, I don't remember. Rush might have been my first concert. Then Van Halen might have been after that. Maybe it was, I don't remember, dude. It's a long time ago. All right. Comparatively, thank you to Blaine, again, for the idea here. Templeton 10-year versus Michters 10-year. Both Rye. This is NGP. This is from Parts Unknown, the old wrestling. Remember when George the Animal Steel would come out? And they'd be like, coming to the ring from Parts Unknown, George the Animal Steel. They used to do that with a lot of guys. All right. On the nose, the Michters 10, I'll just call it M10. We'll call it the Michelangelo or the Raphael. Raphael is way sweeter immediately. The Templeton, this is the one it's rye. It's mint. It's like a hint of licorice to it. This is 95.5, I believe. So you get all the spice, maybe a slight hint of dill here as well. The black tea note is strong here. A ton of citrus and orange peel. But man, the Michter's 10 is just candy. Like the rye spice is there, but it's night and day. It is night and day. M1022 versus 23. There was no M1022. Bob Seger was my first show. Oh, wow. Bob Seger. Okay. Master Drum Cheers, man. I need to check out my last message. Whiskey Uncensored. Okay, Ben. Let me get up there. Jason, did you see Matt Jack Daniels' birthday review? Wondering if you got the wet dream. Yeah, Joey P. So if any of you guys didn't see Matt from ADHD Whiskey, his last video he did he did a Jack Daniels special edition bottle, the birthday whiskey. He said it was like super butterscotchy, and he said if I had it, I would get wet dreams. I was like, you had me at butterscotch, buddy. Cheers, hello, friends. Just hit. Oh man, Whiskey Uncensored just hit 1,000 subscribers, dude. Cheers to that. That's a big milestone in whiskey too, man. Just in YouTube in general, hitting 1,000. Congratulations, Ben. Good on you, man. I've seen Rush 8 or 10 times. Best band ever. Yeah, Rush was probably the band I've seen the most. You know, I don't mind. There's like an iced tea, like a spicy tea note on the Templeton as well. I'm glad I'm drinking these ryes. I feel like that's a weakness for me in Matt Madness. I need to get better at being able to identify ryes. But Kentucky ryes can be tough because they're so low in rye that sometimes they could come off like a bourbon. So when you have like a Knob Creek rye or even Wild Turkey rye, sometimes they're tough to. When you're going from glass to glass, it could be a little bit tough to pick out. I feel like that's my biggest weakness now in Matt Madness. So I need to shore that up. So I'm glad I'm drinking some ryes tonight. I'm hoping there are some ryes in the Blind Flight, and I don't know if there are any ryes in the my favorite whiskeys so far. Yeah, I mean, honestly, Blaine, just to go back to your question, this is obviously the much better value. I think this is delicious. I don't think this bottle's over $100. So this is a lot more attainable for folks, but it's MGP rye. So it's a lot more rye whiskey forward, more the mints, a little bit of dill, little hint of licorice, a lot of citrus. The spiciness is there. It's a 95.5. This, on the other hand, is just a lot sweeter. This is going to appeal to a massive audience more than the Templeton will, but just are you willing to pay for the $200? I don't really think one's better than the other. I think from my palate, I could go to either one of these at any point. If I want to drink a rye, but I don't feel like getting hit in the face with, a lot of rye spice, I'd probably lean towards the Michters and then vice versa. So again, it's not, whiskey isn't about, stuff being better than the other. I mean, sometimes there are clear delineations of what's better than the other, but I feel like for those two, they're close in how they drink, but the flavor profiles are different. So it's really more about what you're in the mood for. Kudos to people who become whiskey tubers. Hard to do with no equipment aside from a smartphone. Yeah, it's an investment for sure. Jason, what MGP 51% rye have you had? I can only think of one, and it's local, says Travis. It's a good question, man. Trying to think. I think a Rare Character. No, it wasn't Rare Character. It's a good question. I think Foregate had one that I really liked. Maybe Pinhook, I think, had a couple. And I think, isn't Old Elk's rye 51 rye too? I feel like. I think Old Elk is the 51 rye. But I think those are the only ones I could really point to. Oh, hello again. Whiskey Friends hit 1K, not me. Oh, well, that's okay. Hello again, Whiskey Friends. Well, that's amazing. I'm so happy for those guys. Isn't Smoke Wagon a 51 MGP, or is that a malted to unmalted? I think it's malted to unmalted, Terrence. All right, so I'm going to keep sipping this Michters. And then while we do that, let's get into some news before we get into the blind tastings and reveal some of my favorite bourbons for the year. So first one up, guys, is this announcement. Bardstown Bourbon Company. Here comes the next Discovery Series. Now, what may look different to you guys is that they are now labeling these with the numbers. They've kind of gone away from the side label of, showing exactly what it looks like. So this is the next Discovery release. This is number 10, which is a blend of 5 bourbons from 3 states. So this is 114.24 proof, has a suggested retail price of $140. 3,500 9-liter cases will be available beginning Friday through the Bardstown Bourbon Company gift shop at retailers in 24 states and online at sealbox.com. So what you're looking at is 62% of the blend is a 9-year-old Kentucky bourbon. 18% of the blend is a 13-year-old Kentucky bourbon. 8% of the blend is 6-year-old Kentucky bourbon. 10% of the blend is that Georgia bourbon. 80% corn, 10% rye, 5% malted barley, and 2% of the bourbon is 10-year-old Tennessee bourbon distilled from a mash bill of 84, 8, and 8. So only 2% of the blend has that Tennessee bourbon in it, but the rest of it, listen, I'm always excited for a good Discovery series. I really love that they incorporated that Georgia bourbon into it. Again, for anybody that's wondering, it is not 13th Colony. It's a Georgia distillery that I think is out of. I think they're not functioning right now. They're not distilling anything anymore. But I love that blend last year, so I'm really excited to try Discovery 10. What say you in the chat? Stop, Nathan. They can't. They probably went pretty heavy, I think, on getting the Dickel, and when they needed some higher age stuff, that's what was out there. You couldn't get the 15, 16-year MGP anymore, so that's what they got. And obviously, they have to use it before it. I don't know how much longer they feel like they're going to use it, but it seems like they are the last few blends you've seen. They've used a very minimal amount of it in their blends, so we'll see. Would love it, but not if it's $140 or more like Disco 9. Yeah, the prices on these, this bottle at $140, man, it's, there's some older whiskey in it, but man, stop with the Tennessee bourbon, that Discovery. Even 2% Dickel can ruin a blend, says Adam. Yeah, I get it. They need to use it before it gets too old and turns good. Yeah, we'll see how it tastes. I'm definitely going to be reviewing that one once it comes out. All right, so it looks like Woodford Reserve has announced the next batch proof. Now, this is always an intriguing release each and every year. I generally, I'm pretty critical of Woodford Reserve, but either way, this is the latest release. It's coming in 124.7. It's a limited edition bourbon. It'll be available in the U.S. for $130. This is the cask strength offerings, the brand's only yearly bottling that isn't, the standard 90.4 proof. Let's see here. Last year's Expression was released at 118.4, and the distillery has kicked it up a notch this year with the latest offering. I'm not sure. I haven't always been a fan of those. I loved last year's. I got to tell you, though, guys, when I did my end, so it made my end of the year ranking. And when I had it in my ranking and I was going through all my end of the year whiskeys, let me move that forward a little bit. Man, did the youth come out. I put it against some higher age stuff, and the Woodford Reserve got so young tasting that it just completely just fell out of favor. I feel like that whiskey on its own, that bourbon on its own, is probably pretty damn good. But as soon as you put it up against something with probably a little bit more age, even at a higher proof, it's going to stand out. And that's exactly what happened. And I gave it a very favorable review last year. I really liked the Woodford Reserve batch proof. The year before, not so much. The year before that, not so much. I feel like with Woodford, I can taste when they are putting youthful bourbons that's been heat cycled to make it seem like, I don't know, like I don't really taste that like too much in Old Forester, but I get it in Woodford, and I don't understand why. It's just a weird like thing I get with Woodford Reserve batch proof. I mean, it's palate to palate, you know. I mean, everyone's different, so, but it's interesting how that happens. Another one that's 150 or more and priced out at 118 from last year was real good, but I'd rather spend that money on Barrel King or Found North. Yeah, Paul P, I could see that. On its own is how we all drink stuff 90% of the time. Yeah, that's true. I'm just saying, if like, you know, I know a lot of guys that do blind tastings, you know, a lot of people that do blinds, and I don't know, just like when you put that Woodford in a blind tasting, it stuck out like a sore thumb. It just like tasted like corn, which was crazy. I'd rather buy Natural Barrel Company than these last two. Yeah, Adam, I'm probably with you too there. I still got to review it though. I'm there with you. All right, let's go to a couple of new labels we saw on the TTB. There's not much, just a little bourbon brand that released this label that hit the TTB. Again, all these are courtesy of Cumming Whiskey on Instagram. If you guys are not following Cumming Whiskey, please do. The guy just finds every label on the TTB, posts it on his Instagram. It's a great resource just to see what's coming out. So that's where I get these labels from, if everyone wants to know. Old Forester, 1924 10-year-old. That's right. Now that bottle looks like a continuation of the Whiskey Row series. Now we'll get into that in a little bit here. The back of it says this whiskey is distilled by us only, and we are responsible for its richness and fine quality. Its elegant flavor is solely due to the original fineness developed with, is that a word? Fineness? There's nothing better in the market. George Garvin Brown, founder. So in 1924, the story, there's always a story behind these. 1924, Owsley Brown took barrels of whiskey with different mash bills to a warehouse on Howard Street in Louisville, Kentucky, and bottled them as Old Forester. This 10-year-old expression honors the 100th anniversary of this occasion. I'm not sure if 100 proof is going to be the actual proof. We'll see. I actually hope it is. I do love Old Forester between 100 and 110 proof, so I think that could be a really, really good whiskey. It's almost like birthday bourbon light, I called it. It's kind of like a birthday bourbon light, but I have a feeling that's going to be just as rare as birthday bourbon. Now, I think what's happening is that people are seeing that label and they think it's going to be an extension of the Whiskey Row series and will be readily available like 1920, like 1910. There is nothing that I've read or seen or heard that that's going to be the case. I think this is going to be in probably a similar style bottle to that. It looks like the label has some purple writing, so I'm guessing the tag around the top will be purple. You know, just like the other tags kind of match the border color on the other Whiskey Row series. But we'll see what happens. I do not think that's going to be a core line release. I hope it is. But Old Forester never really releases anything with that type of age other than birthday bourbon. So if they're saying like, okay, we have 10-year stocks now that we can supply to the country, going forward, that's a bold statement, especially when you have Elijah Craig dropping age statements saying that we're going to have a variable age statement now. You have Old Forester coming in saying, hey, we have a 10-year age stated bourbon now, 1924. If it does become an extension of the Whiskey Row series, which they've already said Whiskey Row series is done. So that's why I don't think it's an extension. I feel like that would have come out already, but we'll see what happens. However, that's going to be a highly, highly sought after bourbon. Hopefully there's enough to go around for folks, but we'll see what happens. Is that the first post-Jackie limited release? I mean, if you're looking at 10 years, Jackie was there while that was aging. So she could have had a hand in kind of tasting it along, saying that we should save these barrels, see how they age. She could have been involved in it, to be honest. I mean, it's 10 years. It's a 10-year-old whiskey. So you could see her being involved in it at some point in the process. Bob Glass says, I got your Barrel King pick. Fantastic. Oh, awesome, Bob. That's cool. By the way, William Wiley, so where's the Woodford Reserve 10-year to go with the Old Forester 1924 10-year and Jack Daniels 10-year? You know, dude, I mean, that would be great, but Woodford Reserve doesn't like to put age statements on anything. And I think that's because Woodford Reserve, as I've said before, they have a very strong core group of fans that like what they like, and they like where their bourbon is at. 90.4 proof. It isn't overly, it's not harsh. It's very easy to sip. It's great for beginners, great for cocktails. It's a universally loved bourbon. Could we see a high age statement at some point soon? I think so. I think the Very Fine and Rare, the special release that released a couple years ago, I think that had some older whiskey in it. But again, they don't like age statements. You know, I really wish Woodford would do that, especially for these $130, $140, $160 releases. I know for a fact that the batch proofs, Woodford Reserve, that's young whiskey. I'd be surprised if it's over 6 years old, to be honest. But, oh, the man is here. Sup, biatches? What's up, ADHD Whiskey? Nice to see you here. The man, the myth, the legend. Matt, you're going to have to send me a sample of that Jack Daniels. You know that, right? When you send me the samples for the finals for the Matt Madness finals, can you sneak a little of that Jack Daniels in there? You're saying it's a butterscotch bomb. I got to try it, dude. Wasn't the Whiskey Row Series 375 ml? That label details 750. I'm not sure if that matters or not. No, Whiskey Row Series is 750. The 375 milliliter rows are the 117 series. That's what you're thinking of, Jeff. You're thinking about the small 117 series that Jackie started. That doesn't have Jackie's name on it anymore, but the first few releases did. Those were 375s. Let's see here. An actual Old Forester 1915 release would be mind-blowing. Yeah, this shit needs to happen. This could happen. I asked Jackie about this happening at some point, but you know, I don't know if we'll ever see it, but if it did, it would sell like hotcakes. Look out, Jason. Matt going to put rice bourbon in the finals. He might. Matt's new favorite pour is American Single Malt. Old Forester 117 was dope. I feel like Woodford Reserve marketed to those with money but no knowledge of whiskey with the name and design alone. I mean, you can make that argument, Terrence. Yep. The Mash and Drums, the 1924 going to be as good as the Woodford Double Oak cask strength. Cask? I don't know. If it's 10 years old, it shouldn't need a double oak. It should have enough oak on its own. ADHD Whiskey says, I'll send a Samsky of the Butterscotch Jack and my other JD Rye single barrel and a picture of my underpants. Oh, God. Matt, I hope your underpants has like a pattern print of like "Gimme the Pappy" on it. Yeah, that Michters is good. All right, next up, my favorite brand that I love to talk about, Blue Run. They're going to be coming out with a trifecta blend. Bourbon whiskey, 95 proof for this one. Again, don't take the proofs as gospel. But when I see the lower proofs on the Blue Run, I fairly believe that. So this looks like it's going to be an exquisite union of 3 bourbons aged 6, 8, and 9 years old. You know what? That actually sounds kind of intriguing. I don't know what the price on that's going to be, but, a blend to that standard could be kind of good, for Blue Run. So we'll see how that turns out. I'll wait for other reviews before I, decide to buy a bottle, if I buy one. But that'll be interesting to kind of see the trifecta blend. But if that bottle is like $150, that's going to be a huge skip, especially when Wild Turkey Rare Breed is 12-year, was it 12-year, 8-year, and 12-year, 8-year, and 6-year bourbon, I think, in it. So, yeah, trifecta blend, I get it, but there's a lot of high-age blends out there. It's all about the edumacation, folks. All about the edumacation. Penelope here, they're looking like they're going to be putting out a Toasted Series rye whiskey, which is kind of cool. I mean, I love Penelope, but I'm kind of over the whole toasted thing. I mean, it's fine. Take it or leave it. Hopefully they're good, but toasted ryes to me and toasted bourbons, I don't know. It's some of them can still be really good, but it's just kind of like, I don't know. I'm kind of over it. Sagamore Spirit maple syrup cask finish rye. That's going to be a sweet meatball right there. 107.2 proof, it looks like. Maple syrup cask finish. I mean, if you have a sweet tooth, the inner fat kid, and you might love that rye whiskey. Then last but not least, Heaven Hill Select Stock is coming out with a Kentucky Straight Malt Whiskey. So Kentucky Straight Malt Whiskey, 119.3 proof, 9 years old. Mash bill, 51% malt, 49% corn on this one. So just some whiskeys that are out there for you guys to take a look at. Isn't that just Wild Turkey 101, but possibly lower proof? Yeah, I mean, that's my point, Terrence. It's basically Wild Turkey 101. Oh, man. I really want Sagamore Port Finish to be a domestic release. Save your money in Blue Run. Hopefully, they have some at the end of August. So I think I heard that Jason's ready for the Toasted Blue Run. I think Blue Run is getting ready to release a double oaked bourbon, which might be pretty good. Sometimes that hides some of the youthful notes and the youthful characteristics that you can get in a bourbon. And then I think they're actually going to be releasing a bunch of Father's Day single barrels too, just like they did for Mother's Day. So if you guys got any of the Mother's Day releases, the single barrels, I think they're coming out with some Father's Day ones too. So a lot of butterflies to be caught very soon. All right. So next thing I want to talk about here real quick is this right here. Speaking of malt, the Clermont Steep. Now, for those of you that don't know what the hell this is Jim Beam's first American single malt. This comes from Clermont, Kentucky. This is a Jim Beam distilled product. From what I remember, it's 80% standard American malt and 20% Pilsner malt, if I remember that correctly. Now, this comes in at a 94 proof. This is going to be released actually starting, tomorrow's June already, right? So next month in June, this will be starting to release. If you're a part of that membership club that Jim Beam has, they just released these in the last membership box, the barreled and box membership that Jim Beam does. I think it's a Kentucky only membership. So they released these, and Todd Ritter, one of my great patrons and friends and viewers, he allowed me to borrow this in order to try it. So I just did a full review of this today. So I don't want to do too many spoilers, but so where does Clermont Steep come from? So Clermont Steep has to do with the process they use to make this, and obviously the place that it's made. So you steep the barley before you distill it, and it's made in Clermont. Hence, Clermont Steep. Make sense? Been seeing this Clermont all over. Seems like too much money. Yeah, so the price on this, I believe, is, was it $80, $70 or $80 for this? It's a 5-year-old American single malt, column distilled. It's now the cask maturation in this is different. It's a, man, I'm trying to remember from my review. I do remember it having a char 1 toast on it. So a char 1 level toast on the barrel that they use for this. So very, very minimal toast. That allows the whiskey to be a little bit sweeter, and really kind of dig into the layers without, going through all the charcoal, the coal and the black layers when you're talking about a char 3 or 4 or higher. So the less of a toast you have, the more the chance you get more of the sweet notes out of it. So craft distilleries put out cheaper American single malt. Well, ham turkey, I definitely get into that a little bit in the review. So as far as the nose on this, it's very grainy. It's malty, but grainy at the same time. It's honey, a little bit of honey, very light honey. A little bit of, there's some breadiness to it, bread like toast, like toasted bread. I mean, a little bit of sweetness, but there's not much going on here for this one. Let's give it a go. Yeah, I can't keep drinking that. There's something extremely sour and off to that whiskey. And I don't know if I don't know. it's not working. So apparently they tried like 60 something different types of malts before getting that 80%, 20% combination that they did. What's also interesting to me is they used 80% standard single malt and 20% Pilsner. Now, if they're looking for like the beer drinker in the United States to get into that, maybe that's what they were going for. But I mean, you look at, man, Stranahan's, friggin' McCarthy's, Westland, ASW. These guys are using a lot of exotic malts to really get some unique flavors that are way above what this is. So not really sure what the decision was for that. It's just not doing it for me. The finish on it is the weirdest thing. It's just so off and sour and weird. That is a bottle that I do not recommend buying. That is a easy try before you buy, even like close to a skip. I just don't think it's there yet. It needs more time to age. It just is sour and weird and just not. I've had so many good American single malts that thing is just not even up to the standard that some of those others are. My goodness gracious. After 60 means this is good enough. Yeah, like so yeah, Terrence, it actually does. You start oh, that's not it. Where did it go? Is this, oh, this is it right here. I thought I put it aside. Yeah, when you get into it, you could taste the you could smell that Jim Beaminess that it has. It's really, I think, from the yeast strain. They used the 1,000-year-old jug yeast that they use in all of their Jim Beam whiskeys. And I feel like you could taste that a little bit. You could smell that a little bit in here, for sure. It's got a slight hint of nuttiness, but there is something very sour and just off. Now I'm getting it on the nose, which sucks. Yeah, I mean, front to mid palate, it's okay, but it really leaves me with a really weird finish that I do not like at all. So I would proceed with caution on that one. There's a lot more just delicious American single malts to have other than this, especially for the price. I'm actually working on a video right now all about American single malt, the ones to try, the ones to hunt, the ones to to add to your collection that are a lot more worth it than that one is. I like that Jim Beam is getting into the category. I think anytime a big producer gets into a category like that, all it does is bring more attention to it, gives it a little bit more viability. And I think based on that, that could get a lot better. But right now, at 5 years old, man, that needs a lot more time. I need a lot of water for that. Jesus. All right. Jim Beam peed in it. That's a huge bummer. Yeah, it's just not doing it. And it's not really a peanut funk. It's something else. I want to hear about McCarthy, says Bozwang guy. Well, McCarthy's, if you're a Scotland single malt nut, McCarthy's is probably the closest to Scottish single malt that I've tasted. They're out of Oregon. They make peated, they make unpeated, they make sherry finish. McCarthy's out of Oregon is phenomenal American single malt. I don't think it's widely distributed, but if you guys ever get a chance to try it, it's ridiculously good. So that's my first recommendation. If you want to try a freaking killer American single malt, try McCarthy's. Oh my gosh. All right. All right, guys. It is time. Sealbox has an Oloroso and P. Oh, do they really? Oh my God. I want to get that PX one. Holy shit. Yeah, Stranahan cast strength store picks are really good. Single barrel picks. Those are absolute apple cinnamon bombs to me. I love Stranahan's, single malt. Obviously, we just did the Westland. If you guys want to try a really good American single malt pick, get the Mash and Journey, my pick, the Mash and Journey Westland American single malt pick. It is it's a 5 malt. That's I think it's 7 years old, cast strength, and it was finished in a it was finished in a toasted port finish barrel, and it tastes like raspberry chocolate dessert. It's ridiculously good. My bourbon journey, I think, is here. Scott, if you have the link, drop it in the chat, dude. Drop the link for the Westland. If anybody wants to try it, it is ridiculously good. If you want to get introduced to American single malt, try that Westland pick. It will blow your mind. I'm telling you. There you go. From the whiskey saint himself, that Westland is delish. Delish is a word I don't think gets used enough, and I would never expect the word delish to be used by Darrell, but I'm glad he typed it. Thanks, Darrell. That's it, Darrell. Every time I see you now, I was like, how's that whiskey? Is it delish? Is it delish? I'm just messing with you, man. Oh, shit. That's hilarious. Oh, yeah. Cedar Ridge Quintessential. Adam, that's another one. Another up there with the Westland. Up there with McCarthy's Westland. Cedar Ridge. The Cedar Ridge Quintessential out of Iowa. Probably my other favorite American single malt. Those guys are making incredible single malt whiskeys. So I have that right here somewhere. I wish I did. I probably put it away because I'm an idiot. Damn it. Well, here's the... Oh my God, I'm going to knock over all my shit. This is the Westland that we did. So this is what you guys want. Cask 7869. Big Vic, if you guys don't know his channel. We called it the Mecca Lecca High, Mecca Malty Ho. So, but pure raspberry chocolate in a bottle. If you guys like that, get it. It's really good. Yeah, it's a little pricey with shipping, but add some other bottles to it if you guys, want to. But yeah, hell yeah. Dude, the Driftless Raspberry Cream and Big Vic are so close. That's actually a really good call out, Benjamin. Whiskey. I'm sorry, Darrell. I love you, man. Oh my God. Yeah, I did put a dent in that bottle for sure. Yeah, I love it. It's like my end of the night whiskey. Every time I'm like, oh, what do I want to drink right now? I go for that because it's dessert in a bottle, man. Love it. All right. Did I have any more? No, that was it. Okay, it's time. Let's go through some of my favorites. Some of my favorite whiskeys already for 2023. We have 447 people watching right now. Guys, thanks for so much for hanging out tonight. Make sure you hit that like button while you're here. Subscribe. Really appreciate it, guys. Love all of you. So before we get into the first blind tasting, let's get into some of my favorite bourbons and whiskeys of the year. This is in no specific order. I was just kind of going through my catalog of stuff and figured, you know what? Let me kind of look back at the year here and see which ones that were kind of stood out as my favorites here. Now, there are some whiskeys that I reviewed or haven't reviewed. I should say haven't reviewed that I really, really liked, that were surprises that you'll probably see a review for down the line. But I'll include those in kind of the mix. So first and foremost, some of my favorite whiskeys. Let's start with, man, how could we not mention this series right here? Is that it? Yes, that's one of them. And no, that's the other. I mean, how can we not mention the Bardstown Origin series? So the Bardstown Origin series is my first selection Some of my favorite whiskeys I've tried so far in 2023, not only because they're just delicious whiskeys, but also because they are, it's a great value. I think they're really great value whiskeys. This thing, the Bottled and Bond Wheater, I think has a chance to be one of, if not one of the best wheated bourbons on the market. I absolutely love the flavor in this. I think the price is spot on. I think the quality is incredible. It's. Oh, Jason, is whiskey / bourbon jumping the shark? Question. Feels like we're getting close. It's a good question. I think it depends on who you are. Like, to me personally, I think there's a little bit of that. I think the creativity and where stuff is really happening in bourbon and whiskey is still coming from the craft distillers, to be honest. The big distillers, I think, are putting out great products, but the more I taste them each and every year, the more I'm like, they're fine, but obviously there's some outliers. I mean, you have releases like Russell's 13, Heaven Hill 17 last year that just are mind-blowingly good. But you have a lot of these special releases that come from the big name distillers that aren't as nearly as good as some of the other stuff coming out of smaller distillers. So I really think that's where the innovation is happening. I think they follow suit. Look at Jim Beam. I mean, we just had the Clermont Steep. I mean, there have been I'm not going to say a boatload, but there's a big contingency of American single malts being made throughout the country that the big distillers are finally, getting on board with. Jack Daniels, we saw release one, Jim Beam, and I have no doubt that we'll see others from other big distillers. Life Sandy loves your anniversary tribute last live. Oh, that's awesome, Bob. Glad to see. Glad you guys were able to. To celebrate. So cheers to you guys. Those damn bottles are so good and impossible to find. Well, I mean, you kind of knew that these were going to kind of start off in a fury. Hopefully, they start, getting better and better as far as availability goes for these. Also, what's missing here is the rye. I got to sample the rye whiskey. The rye whiskey, the Origin series, I think is really unique, really delicious too. I think the whole series, they killed it this year. Absolutely love the Origin series from Bardstown Bourbon Company. Definitely in kind of my top tier of whiskey releases this year. But to go back to the question, as far as jumping the shark, yeah, I think we're getting to the point where marketing is getting to be more important than what's in the bottle. And unfortunately, that's a thing. It's a thing that's happening, which I think is more important for, the whiskey geek or the whiskey or the bourbon geek, whatever you want to call it, to really seek out different brands and try different things from different distillers. Because as much as everybody loves Buffalo Trace and stuff, you're not going to find it most of the time. But there are so many whiskeys out there that I would take over Buffalo Trace in a minute, in a second. So I think that's the part that annoys me more than anything when it comes to bourbon and whiskey. The marketing and the stories that are being told to sell whiskey are so out of the stratosphere. And you could tell that it's marketing to new drinkers coming into the category. And that's what kind of pisses me off, because you're not, and it's funny too, because you hear it like the Forbidden release, like this release right here. If we talk about, I think I deleted it. But anyway, the Forbidden release from Marianne Eves that's coming out. I mean, that thing was rife with just marketing jargon, saying it's never been done before, it's forbidden. It's all bullshit. People have been making stuff with different grains, doing these different types of entry proofs and slow distillate. People have been doing this. There's no difference in, maybe the combination is kind of different, but it's not forbidden. People are doing this type of distillation. It's just happening on a craft level rather than a big brand level with a face in front of it like Marianne Eves with huge money to back up the marketing. That's the difference. So it all comes down to education, what's out there, what you can taste. That's what is bugging me about whiskey today. It's more about the marketing, the story they can tell, rather than what's in the bottle. And I think as far as jumping the shark, I think marketing has gone over quality for the most part. For the most part. And that's where my rant will be over. Jay, you're so right, Jason. Marketing is ruining bourbon. Alan Bishop called the Forbidden Release out. It was hilarious. Yeah, I saw that post, Todd. Yeah, he's right. He broke down exactly what they were saying in the press release and what he has done personally as a distiller. He's done all the things that Forbidden said has never been done. And he's like, that's bullshit. I've been doing that. So that's where the disconnect, I think, comes from. So, but that's why you watch, that's why you watch The Mash and Drum, to find out exactly the good shit that's out there. By the way, I want to thank everybody for the really good feedback on the next bourbons and whiskeys you have to add to your list video that I released last week. Got a lot of great feedback on it. People are really thankful of some new bottles to really seek out. Bottles that are not only affordable, but people doing stuff that's grain to glass, no gimmicks, no bullshit, just really, really good whiskey to try. So if you guys haven't watched that video, please do. Or somebody drop the link in the chat and you guys can get a watch of it. Great brands like Detling, great brands like Ben Holiday, and a bunch of others that are in there. Hard Truth, just some great stuff that's out there for people to try without all the marketing gimmicks. Just really good whiskey to share with friends and family. All right, next up. Let's see. This is a rye whiskey. Nope, that's not it. Oh, did I grab the wrong one? I did. Shit. Oh, it's right over there. All right, I'll get it. You probably already saw it's a Sagamore, but it's a Sagamore 8-year rye. So the 2023 Sagamore Spirit 8-year-old rye is the best rye I've had this year. It is absolutely incredibly delicious. I am not drinking this as fast as I should be, but yes. Let's see here. Jason, congrats on 79K. Yeah, I mean, I'm getting close to 80. I want to hit that 80 mark and then hopefully get to 100 at some point. It just seems like the subscribership is slow going for whatever reason. You know, I'm trying. I don't do like the shorts, and I don't do a lot of the I do it sometimes. I do it more on Instagram than I do on YouTube. I know that promotes growth, but to me, I don't know. Those are kind of empty subscribers. Those are just people flipping through, kind of giving you a subscribership. I still like the long form videos. I mean, I'm old school. What do you want? But maybe some more clickbaiters will help me get over the edge. We'll see what happens. Outside the Star says, is the Chateau de Labaude worth 160 this year? If you had the first one, it's not nearly as good. It's a very, very good bourbon, though. I still really like it. 160. I don't know if it's $160 worth, but it is a damn good Armagnac finished bourbon. I would say at that price, try before you buy if you can. What's the batch number on the Sagamore 8-year? I would say, let's see, this is batch 2A for mine. And this thing, I mean, this was love at first sip. I absolutely love this whiskey. This 8-year rye is easily probably the best rye I've had so far this year. I think I actually even like it more than this. You know, let me test that theory. I'm gonna pour a little bit of that here now. Sagamore just always has a way of just sneaking into my tops each and every year with something. Sagamore 8 batch 2 over batch 1. Yeah, I totally agree. Tim says, I bought one from your glowing review. Tim, what do you think about it? Did you like it as much as I did? There's a distillery exclusive cask strength Sagamore this year that gives the Sagamore 8-year a run for its money. Oh, shit. I think the 123 proofer edges it out. Yeah, but Adam, is that the cask strength though? Oh my God, it's so good. I love that rye so much. It's got sweet spice balance. It's got some age to it. I'm just gonna sip that. All right, next selection here. What do we got? Let's go to. Oh, how can I forget this brand right here? Green River. Green River, I think, for releasing a $35 wheated bourbon, I think was really, really smart from them. They already have a $35 regular bourbon. And again, guys, this is not bourbon that's going to blow you away. These are easy sipping, really approachable, affordable bourbons to either sip or to throw in a cocktail. I think Green River bringing these out at $35 is an absolute steal. Again, it's not going to blow you away. It could come off a little bit young to some folks, and I get that part of it. But when you're just talking about a $35 wheated bourbon from a newer brand, Green River was acquired by Bardstown Bourbon Company. I think this stuff's just going to get better and better as it goes on. A little bit older. We'll see what happens with the brand. But I love when a distiller or distillery that's deemed smaller or new brings out a bourbon for $35. You just don't see that a lot anymore. So I give them huge kudos to that. Like I said, again, it's not going to blow you away. It's nothing that's going to like win any top 10 awards. But for just an easy sipping experience, I'll take this over Maker's Mark. That's for sure. So there you go. The nerd is here. Sagamore BB is super unique. Let's see. Nerd alert. That cantaloupe grapefruity note in Green River is great. Yep. Drifting Drams is in the house. The Bourbon Wrench is here. What's going on, nerd? What's going on, Nighthawk? How you doing, babe? How you doing, man? Jason, you almost whipped the Glen off the table with the Sagamore bottle. Oh, I got to be careful. Tim says, I love it. I have the double, a pick, and the bottle and bond. The age is the best, but the bottle and bond is amazing too. Have you tried it? Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the bottle and bond as well, Tim, for sure. All right, next one up. I mean, how could I not talk about it? We'll get into it. We touched on this earlier. It's the Michters 10-year. The Michters 10-year for 2023. I have been a huge critic of Michters 10-year in the past. I have said that they are never worth it. Do not pay the $160 for it. It's too low of proof. It lacks finish. It lacks flavor. There's not enough oomph to it to warrant that type of price. This year, you could still make an argument that the price is too high, and I totally understand that. But the 2023 is so good. Now, it's not going to do great in blinds because the proof is really low. But when you sip this on, you could crush this bottle. If you're sitting with a group of friends, you could just pour this. You'll crush this bottle in one night. It's really easy to sip, but the flavor of it is just so potent and so rich. I absolutely love Michters 10-year. Now, it says 10 on the label, but apparently it was well over 10 years old last year when it was skipped, but they wanted to go one more year before they released it this year. Now, whether or not that story is true or not, which begs the question, how old is this? Now, when I did the review, I ventured to guess that this probably could be 14 to 15 years old. And this might be the closest thing to Michters 20 that people get without paying the astronomical prices for Michters 20. I absolutely love this one. My bottle of M10 was 110 in 2018-19 and went up $50. Yeah, it did go up 50, Trev, for sure. My barrel number, Big Vic, is 23A0276. That's my barrel number. So yeah, this is definitely one of my favorites this year, which is crazy because I never thought Michters 10-year would be one of my top selections for the year. Man, 494 people, almost 500 people in the chat. What is going on, guys? Thanks for hanging out tonight. My next selection, probably no big surprise either. Jack Daniel's 12-year. So Jack Daniel's 12-year, I think the problem with this whiskey is that you can't get it. It's really hard to find. It's really hard to get a bottle of this stuff, which sucks. But if you're one of the lucky ones that got to try this or get it, now I'll be honest with you guys. So here's kind of the thing that people don't realize about this bottle. So when all these folks got media samples, like myself, ADHD Whiskey, Fred Minnick, we all got it's bourbon night. We all got really lucky enough to get the media samples of this, and we got to try it at the distillery, before it was kind of bottled. Now, at the distillery and in the media sample, I feel like the whiskeys were really opened up, really it was just so delicious. I love it because I get a lot of butterscotch on it. And you guys know that's my jam, as ADHD Whiskey told you in his latest video. But man, I got this bottle. So I drank my sample, obviously, but I get this bottle and then I'm pouring it for the first time. I did a fresh crack on it. I'm like, what's wrong with this one? This doesn't taste like I remember. Like, what's happening? Why is this different than my sample was? Then when I went back to it, once it got some airtime, it started shifting to what I had. So if any of you get lucky enough to get a Jack Daniel's 12, I feel like to get to that sweet spot where the reviewers loved it, it needs airtime. Because in the beginning, it's a little bit tight. It's a little bit there's like those sweet flavors, I feel like almost needs to be unlocked. So you got to give it some airtime for it to get to that sweetness. Because I know a few people that got it, they're like, oh, what's all the fuss about? This isn't that great. It needs time. It needs time to develop, and those butterscotch flavors really come out, the sweetness, all of that. So I really do like it a lot. Yeah, who would have thought 5 years ago that people would be hunting Jack Daniels? That's a really good point. Bourbon Wrench, I got the media sample too. I love the sample. I was also very critical of the 10-year sample, and then got a 10-year bottle. Tasted equally as not special. Yeah, to me, the 10-year wasn't as good as last year's 10-year. The last year's 10-year had more fruit-forward notes, which is something that's unique to Jack Daniels if you could find them, especially in the single barrels. But the 12-year had a different type of sweetness. It's not fruit-forward. It's more candy-forward, and I think it just needs some time to get there. So, yeah. I mean, if you were lucky enough to get this, complete banger of a release. All right. One of my big surprises this year is this K. Luke. So K. Luke Batch 4 Barrel Proof. Jonathan Maisano was on the channel a couple weeks ago. You guys saw my reaction to this, and it was as genuine as I could have, it's as genuine gets. I did not expect this to be that good. I absolutely love this blend that he put together. This is one of those bottles where I was alluding to earlier, where you talk about whiskeys that are better to seek out, better than most of the special releases coming out from the bigger distillers. And yeah, it's sourced, it's Kentucky, it's Indiana, it's blended. I get it. But at the same time, man, you blend a good whiskey like this. This is like a poor man's Four Roses limited edition. It's got the sweet, it's got the spice, it's got a finish, it's got balance. It's a beautifully blended barrel proof whiskey. And even at barrel proof, it's still, you're only looking at 117.7 proof. It's not overly into the 120s. It's just a really well constructed blend. None of you have gotten a chance to try these batch proof blends from K. Luke. They are just really, really delicious. I'm so mad on something like K. Luke. Bring the big sweet. Well, Michael's time was well invested. I don't know if this is true, but Jason, what are your thoughts on an Old Forest releasing 1924 10-year? Yeah, Alfredo, we went over that earlier. We actually brought up the label. Here it is. It was on the TTB, so I think this is real. The thing we talked about is the question is if it's going to be a regular release added to the Whiskey Row series, which I don't think it's going to be, or if it's going to be, probably highly allocated, which it probably will, like everything else. So we'll see. Yeah, the problem with K. Luke is the price, and I totally get that. But again, remember, most sourced whiskey brands, most of them, not saying all of them, but most of them are going to be higher priced than. You got to remember, guys, and this is the thing that people miss. Big distillers that have the big names can put out a whiskey for a cheaper price because just of the sheer volume that they sell. These smaller brands don't have that. They don't have that luxury. So if you decide, like if I decided to come out with a whiskey brand next week, I have to buy barrels. I have to get a blend together. But it's going to be a lot of money. It's startup costs for me. So to try to make that money back to invest it in my next venture or in my next blend, that means I have to probably charge a good amount for it. Unfortunately, that's just how it works. But at the same time, listen, if you have a budget, you could skip it. But good whiskey is good whiskey. And I think K. Luke actually really nails the blends for these. So Again, it just depends on what you want to spend. There's nothing wrong with staying. If you don't want to go over $50 and buying a bourbon, there's plenty of great options out there. It's not a big deal. So, yep. Let's see. Price on the K Luke, that the barrel proof I think is what, $110, something like that. Yep. The small batch brands don't have the luxury to sell it cheap, just like I don't have the luxury to spend 200 plus a bottle. You had me at next week, says JG. You know what else is on TTV? E.H. Taylor barrel proof rye. Yeah. Oh, that's a good point, JC. That's a good point. That was on TTV, and nobody has seen it. Nobody has seen that whiskey. Where did it go? What did Buffalo Trace do with those bottles? Makes you think. What did they do with that bottle? Lionel says, is that K Luke age stated? It's not age stated on the bottle, but if you go online and it tells you the ages that's in it. I just can't remember offhand. You saw one, Lionel, but it was gone with the wind. I don't know if I believe you, Lionel. I don't know if I believe you, dude. Okay, you saw one. Where did you see it? At a store? Was it a picture of it? Where did you see it? Oh my God. You guys know I need to play it because when it comes to Buffalo Trace,
never gonna get it, never gonna get it, never gonna get it, never gonna get it.
Like, because nobody's gonna get shit. And the last thing we needed was another Weller from freaking Buffalo Trace. Oh my God, that's all we really need. So I saw an article written. I saw an article written about the Buffalo Trace, the new Weller, David Weller edition, whatever the hell it's called. Somebody wrote it was a really spot on assessment. They said the Puppet Masters at Sazerac was releasing this new Weller, and it's like the last thing bourbon needs right now. It's like I thought Buffalo Trace was working on ramping up the availability of their core line of products that nobody can get. So now you're announcing another Weller that nobody will ever see. It sucks. It sucks. It was a picture at one of the stores I shop in. Oh, in Wisconsin. Wisconsin getting the rye. Damn. Okay. All right. Let's go to a couple of surprises. For me this year so far. Here's two of them. I haven't done full reviews on these yet, but I just want to call these out as two bourbons I really like. One is the Nash Tucky series from Nashville Barrel Company. So basically what Nash Tucky means is they're sourcing barrels from Kentucky and they're aging it for a undisclosed amount of time in Nashville once they get their hands on them. Now, some of this distillate comes from a lot of the big distillers in Kentucky. Could be Beam, could be Buffalo Trace, could be Heaven Hill. They have a lot of stuff out there, but some of these Nash Tucky single barrels are actually better than the regular releases from the actual distillers. So, yeah, you're going to pay more to get this, but you're getting it at cask strength and you're getting it at full flavor and all that. And I spoke about this last week. This is the JT Mellick Louisiana Rice Whiskey, which has completely took me by surprise. So you'll see a full review of this soon, all about this one. This was a big surprise this year. Really, really enjoyed it. So we'll see how it goes. Another bourbon that I really liked this year that was kind of a favorite, we mentioned it earlier, was the Booker's Charlie's batch, which I thought is kind of like the mid-upper tier for Booker's batches, I think. I still have yet to find the second release this year, which I know I got to find. But yeah, I think lastly, I mean, I know I can't this is impossible bottle to find, but it's hard to leave off the list. Old Carter Batch 14 bourbon is, I think, the best bourbon batch that they've ever released from Old Carter. I think it's that good. I think it's like Batch 5 level, maybe a little bit better than Batch 5. It's the same mash bill as Batch 5 was. You're looking at 99%. 99% corn, 1% malted barley in the mash bill, but it's double oaked. It's ridiculously good. 117 proof. It's just so beautifully blended from Mark and Sherry. It's incredible. So, Jay, is your Nashville Tucky Lauren stash? Yes, it is. It's Lauren stash. Yeah, Nash Tucky. Let's see. I think Stag 22B is fantastic. Is that technically from last year? Yeah, Bo's one guy, but I reviewed it this year. I would put the Stag 22B in the mix. I think 22B got Stag back to what it was. I wasn't crazy about batch 18, but that 22B I thought was a really good batch of Stag Junior. But yeah, Old Carter batch 14, absolutely incredible. Eric Gunderson, where in the actual F does a person find Old Carter? Kentucky, Louisiana, New York. Is it in? I think it's in Chicago too now, or Illinois, I should say. There's still not in a lot of states. I think Florida has gotten some Old Carter now, I think too. So, yep. Is the Old Carter a light whiskey or corn whiskey from MGP? So that is a bourbon. That's a corn. It's a 99% corn whiskey. You could still deem it bourbon because it was aged in new American oak barrels. Their American whiskey blends are light whiskey. So those have to be light whiskey. They can't call it bourbon. So, oh yeah, California. How can I forget Cali? California definitely gets Old Carter as well. I think Tennessee has some too, a little bit. Oh yeah, Drifting Drams. OC is supposed to be in Tennessee. There you go. Oh, DC and Maryland also has it. Okay, it's making its way around. Georgia has Old Carter. Damn, I really kind of shorted all the states that it was in. When does that Stag 23A come out? Everybody's been asking me that, and basically it depends on your state, guys. Stag Junior is extremely sporadic, and I feel like each state releases it differently. So it's going to depend on where you live, man. I mean, when it gets there, it gets there. When it's released, you're never going to know. Jeffrey Wackett. Jeffrey. Oh, actually, I should have even asked Darrell, who won the blind tasting tonight? So Darrell, Kelsey, and Jeff had Matt ADHD Whiskey on it. They did a little bit of a blind channel. Who won? I got to know. So let's see here. Going to go back to this. All right, it's blind tasting time. Wait, do I have other whiskeys that I'm missing in here? Oh, yeah, one more here. The Foregate Kelvin Collab number 5. I know a lot of people hate the price for this, and I totally get it. But again, it just goes back to good whiskey is good whiskey. If you're going to spend the money on a Foregate, a $200 bottle, the Foregate 5, the Kelvin collaborations are where you want to go. I think the singular finishes are good. Are they $200? There's a lot of singular finishes that are out there that you can get for a lot cheaper. But the Kelvin collabs, I think, is where Foregate shines. So if you're going to spend the money on a Kelvin collab or on a Foregate, the Kelvin collab is where it's at. The 5 is a hybrid cask of both sherry and dark rum casks. So I mean, it's absolutely delicious stuff. I just did a blind tasting with Chad from It's Bourbon Night over the weekend, and this won our blind flight. So this thing has just gotten sweeter and better and more delicious as time has gone on. So I guess we talked about some of my favorites. Let's talk about a few of my disappointments really quick. In the meantime, I'm going to set up my blind tasting here. Let's see here. Old Carter has a nice profile, not going to lie. I mean, they know how to blend. Jeff kicked our butts? Really? Jeff took him out. Awesome, dude. Jeff, congrats, man. Jeff says, I told you if you didn't beat me, I would have won it all. You better bring this belt home. Jeff putting the pressure on me to win Matt Madness. Oh, man. We'll see, man. I hope so. Steve Johnson said, Detling is amazing. Glad you were able to get a bottle for the review. Yeah, absolutely. A patron sent that to me to try it, and I couldn't be more grateful. And I'm glad I got to try it. Detling is very similar to like a Driftless Glen or even like a Texas whiskey, but without like the harsh oak notes. Because I think it's very chocolate, coffee, very dark and rich. If you like those flavor profiles, I think Detling really hits it home with that one. So if you would pay $200 for Old Carter, get a K-Luke for $120, it's on that level. I would probably agree with that, actually, James. But again, Old Carters, you know, they're going to vary just like the K. Lukes will. And again, it's also every blend is contingent upon what those barrels, you know, what they have in disposal in order to make those blends. So some of the later, you know, bourbon batches from Old Carter were actually Dickel. You know, so you know, someone's not going to be that excited to spend, you know, that amount of money to get some Dickel, and I get it. I mean, people go crazy that there's 2% in a Bardstown Bourbon Company. You're going to pay $200 for an Old Carter that's all Dickel blended bourbon. You know, that's not going to sit well. So, all right, let's see here. So this blind was provided by Jonathan Shipman, and basically this is just going to be kind of some of my Matt Madness training here. I'll go through some of my disappointments. I did not forget. So some of my disappointing whiskeys here that I've tried this year so far. Well, I mean, one of them is this one, this Clermont. Yeah, well, no thanks. As you guys saw my reaction, I was not a big fan of the latest Blood Oath. I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was great. I don't know. I've heard a lot of mixed reviews on it. Again, I don't know if that's a batch variation issue that they're having, but mine was very flat. It wasn't very flavorful. It was okay for what it was. I really feel like Blood Oath begs for a higher proof, and I really wish we would get to see that one time. Now, this was batch 9. I guarantee you that next year, when the 10th release comes out, it's going to be some crazy anniversary, you know, blend that I really hope is 100 proof or plus. But we'll see what happens. Okay. You just poured 1, 3, 2, 4, 5, did I? 1, 3, 2, 4, 5. All right, let me switch that. Thanks for the heads up there. And 5. There we go. Glad someone's paying attention. Appreciate that, guys. All right. I have my notes here. I guarantee you. Yeah, those are fall out of your chair pours. 2 and 3 are backward. Yeah, I fixed it. The Whiskey Friends for next year's Matt Madness lineup. Elijah Craig B523. Yeah, Alfredo, I hate to bring it up again, but Elijah Craig B523 is very, very disappointing to me. I am not a fan of that batch at all. It just drinks. It drinks young. It drinks hot. It drinks oaky and dry. It's missing all those great flavors I look for in a good Elijah Craig barrel proof. So, Nathan Jurgensen says, "Enjoy your 5 Eagle Rare picks." Oh man, that's funny. Let me that's funny shit, man. Let me get a little background music here going. A1 23 cents. A1. Oh yeah, I skipped A1 23. As far as my favorites go, Elijah Craig Barrel Proof A1 23 this year, 2023, is an absolute banger. One of the top bourbons that I've tried this year. That's right. I forgot to bring that one up for you guys. Where is it? I don't think I brought it out either. But yeah, Elijah Craig Barrel Proof A1 23, probably one of the best releases this year as well. I would put that up there with some of the best bourbons that I've tried this year. So those are kind of my top so far. We'll see how the rest of the year goes. We haven't really hit like summer is kind of slow. That then once fall hits, guys, you know, all the big releases come out, and we'll see what happens. We still are looking for what's the new Wild Turkey one that's coming out? It's the one, I forgot the name of it. Is it called Lineage or something like that? All 3 of them kind of blending their bourbons together. There's a lot still to taste in 2023 that I feel like some of these bottles that I've had will kind of fall by the wayside as we get into the newer ones this year. So yes, Generations, that's the one. Generations. Or is it Voyage? No, Voyage is Master's Keep. That's the rum finished Master's Keep. Which, to be honest, I'm really not that excited about. I don't know. I've never really been a rum finished whiskey fan. Hence, one of my other disappointments, which is the Bardstown Foursquare. I mean, it's good. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a really good finished bourbon. Again, we get into these issues with the pricing. It's $160, and I just don't think it's $160 worth of flavor. Like for 160 bucks, I want that thing to smack me in the palate. I want full flavor, full. I mean, I just, yeah. It's just, it's not. It just wasn't. It was lacking something to me. I just couldn't get into it. I don't know what it was about it. Kind of like the Logic Creek Barrel Proof. It's like lacking something, and I just don't know what it is. Maybe I wanted more Foursquare in it. Maybe I wanted, but I feel like the palate on it was muted. It was just a little bit too light, and I think it's a balanced blend overall, but the flavors that I wanted were a little bit too low level for me. I wanted them to be elevated. All right, let's see how I do going through this. Again, completely blind tasting. I have no idea what's in here. These are club picks. These distilleries can be from anywhere, so we'll see what happens. I'm just hoping I could, if he does have some ryes in here, I'm hoping I could discern like ryes. So, yeah, just buy Foursquare at that point. It's cheaper. I mean, why not? Fair point, some, but it might do the business in a round. The store near me has ECBP single barrel coming out soon. That's 11 years, 7 months, 136 proof, and it's phenomenal. Yeah, James Farley. At this point, I've had a Logic Creek barrel proof picks that are way better than the B523 for sure. All right, on the nose here. This is a little bit. I think it's a bourbon. I don't think it's very old. I'm just gonna kind of go through what, if like Matt was asking me questions here. Obviously, I don't have the timer, but I at least can, make some guesses here. So I'm gonna say it's kind of, I'll guess 5 years old, just on the nose. Hold on, let me taste it. It's a little crafty. Ooh. It's got some proof to it. Here. Last year's plantation rum finish from Bardstown was delish. It was delish. That's my new favorite word. Where's Durrell? Durrell, that shit is delish. If Durrell ever comes out with a bourbon brand, it should be named Delish. It's good. It's solid. Again, there's some youthful qualities to it, but I still think it's a solid. It's a lot of cinnamon, like red hots. Not like baking cinnamon. This is cinnamon red hot on the back of the palate. It's drinking a little bit hot. I would probably guess this to be 120 proof. That's my guess. All right, yeah. Yes, sir. Hey, what's going on, Mark Deonda? Nice to see you. James Farley says NBC is a Foursquare Rum 16 that they dropped in their gift shop this weekend that is supposedly phenomenal. Well, that sounds good. Just like the Founder's barrel-aged Bartown, couldn't justify the price on it. What price is the Detling at? Anyone know? Ah, man. I think someone told me those are anywhere between 50 to 90, depending on the single. Like, if it's a cast strength single barrel, you're going to pay a little bit more. Another brand I really got turned on to this year was 13 Colony out of Atlanta. I really enjoy those guys, what they're doing. Some of like the other like one-off brands I'll kind of talk about here a little bit, guys, just for your knowledge and your education, so you know what to look out for. Out of Texas, Devil's River. Devil's River. I just looked at the bottle here. That's why I brought it up. Drop the sample. This Devil's River out of Texas. I know some folks are not crazy about Texas whiskey, but you talk about a flavor bomb of a whiskey. These Devil's River single barrels are ridiculously good. Ridiculously good. Let's see. Yeah, this is the Irene Tan pick. The whiskey. Is this the Irene Tan? The caramel fudge whiskey mentors. Is that her pick? I don't remember. Yeah, Devil's River, but it's the single barrel though. I'm talking. I haven't had their core range stuff, guys. I'm talking about their single barrels. Their core range I can't speak to, but their cast strength single barrels are delicious, for sure. Yeah, the Devil's River is the best Texas juice available, says Ben Thirsty. Yeah, totally. I actually have to thank Darrell, Ben, Whiskey Uncensored for turning me on to that stuff. It is so good. All right, second one here. I feel like this could be a wheater, maybe. I'm getting very light, weedy types of things for it. Yeah, the Hard Truth. Hard Truth is another brand. The caramel malt is my top 10. Gotta love that Devil's Pick. We drank that in Boston. That's right, Darrell. Yeah, that is probably the most caramel forward, caramel labeled whiskey I've had. Hey Jason, have you ever been to Journeyman Distillery in Michigan? Went this past weekend and really enjoyed their cask strength lineup. Matthew Harmon, I totally agree. Those are bottles I need to track down, but I'm a huge fan of what Journeyman is doing for sure. Wow, this has a nice milk chocolatey like palate to it, like just straight milk chocolate from mid to back palate. I think this is a little bit more developed. I might go 7 to 8 years on this. Man, as far as proof though, man. Yeah, bourbon for the Irene Tay has a caramel fudge. It is so good. It is so good. Tom Hopper says, oh wait, Richie Z real quick. ASW from Georgia, do you have any of their Heartwood? It's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, I was going to put them in the video, but I've talked about ASW for a long time now, Richie Z. If you guys are still sleeping on ASW, what's wrong with you? Try it. Tom Hopper says, honestly, Jason, you always give me bottle search for it. You're on top of finding new stuff, and I appreciate it. Yeah, Tom, I mean, that's what we need to do as a whiskey community. Find the stuff that nobody's searching for. Find the stuff that's really good that not a lot of people are looking at. Because there's a lot of great whiskey out there that surpasses all the marketing bullshit that's out there. You know, that's what it's about. So I'm gonna say here for proof. So I'm guessing this is I don't know if I'm gonna say it's a wheater anymore now that I've tasted it. You know, I'm gonna stay with wheater. It's pretty easy sipping. I'm gonna say it's 7 to 8 years old. And I'm going to say and the proof is pretty light on it. I'm going to say I'll go 110. I'll say 110 on the proof. I've been pretty good with proof. We'll see if it holds true here. Oh yeah, Milliman Green is actually a really good, that's a really good Texas whiskey as well. It's a good call out. All right. So this nose is completely different. Oh man, what the hell is that? Is that a bourbon or a rye? It's going to make me crazy. What time is it? Oh my God, it's 10:41 already? Holy shit. Oh my God. That tastes like chocolate fudge. That is a mocha latte coffee in a glass. I don't know what the hell that is. Wow. That is mocha latte in a glass. Darrell, you would hate this. It's got this rich, like, pastry note to it. That's delicious. What the hell is that? Never tasted anything like that. It's got a lot of spice. I'm going to guess that's a rye. I'm probably wrong, but I'm going to guess it's a rye. Proof point, I'll say 113 proof on that. All right, let's go to D here. Oh my gosh. This is so floral. It is so floral forward. This is like walking into a greenhouse, smelling flowers, lavender and citrus. That's got to be a rye. That's got to be a rye whiskey. If that's not a rye whiskey, then I'm not even showing up for Matt Madness. Glad I got the stream. Still wondering if you have tried Frank August. Got a 100 milliliter sample that last day of my job. Oh, Frank August. I feel like I have had that stuff before. Yep. Does it taste like my sample, Jason? No, Big Vic, not in that way. It's a much more like delicate. It's not like this harsh chocolate note. It's more of like a latte type vibe. I don't like that at all. It is so... I feel like I'm drinking a basket of flowers. It's weird. There's some citrus there. There's some spice. Oh my God. It's like a basket of flowers. What the hell is that? I don't know. I'll guess 110 on the proof on that too. That is one of the most... My God, it's like a freaking candle. That's crazy. All right. Last one here. Yeah, Drams, like it's so... I've never had a whiskey this floral before. It is so... Maybe will it? It's got like this old-fashioned like note to it though too, where it's really sweet. It's almost like Angostura bitters. It's like a pre-made Manhattan almost a little bit. But if you threw in a little bit of the Benedictine, like the floral liqueur in it, that's what it tastes like. Like the Benedictine floral liqueur. It's extremely floral. It literally tastes like a batch cocktail. And I'm wondering now. These were all store picks, so I'm wondering if that's why they picked this. It's like a batch cocktail in a glass. Like it's like some sort of like orange cherry. Man, it's not only super floral, but it's very cocktail forward. Yeah, that's what it is. It's not flowers, it's bitters. That's what it is. It's bitters. Oh my God. It's like a cocktail. It's like you ordered a Manhattan or a old fashioned, and instead of like 3 dashes of bitters, they did like 15 dashes of bitters because that's all I taste. It tastes weird. All right. I'm not crazy about that one. It's too much of like this floral thing going on in it. All right, last one. Not nearly as floral. Raging Irishman says maybe releasing a bourbon could save Bed Bath & Beyond from bankruptcy. That's a good. Anyway, hey, real quick before I forget, anyone watch the Ted Lasso finale yet? Anyone watch the Ted Lasso finale? I mean, I have to admit it. I got a little teary-eyed. I did. Ted Lasso, man, so good. Ooh, this is good. That's very good. This has a lot of rich flavors to it. Complexity. It's sweet. I'll go 117 on that for the proof, but no spoilers yet. Okay, I won't say anything. I'm just saying it's teary-eyed. It's teary-eyed. It's a tearjerker. That's really sweet. I'll say that's a bourbon. This is probably the most balanced out of all 5 of them. A was okay. B, I think between B and E, those are my 2 favorites in this lineup. I mean, actually, I forgot about C. C is so different. Oh my gosh. God, C is like drinking a Cadbury egg. All right, let's find out how I did, guys. I'm going to need a little water here. We have one more quick blind tasting after this. So stick around. Hey, Four-Gate Chris is here. What's going on, man? All right, so here is the reveal. Let's see if it focuses up here. Open after tasting. I don't know if I can read that. Bourbon Community of North Carolina picks. So if you're in North Carolina and you're in this group, shout out to you. Let's see what we got. Jason, huge fan, and I hope you enjoyed these samples from our group picks. Okay, perfect. So I said it was about 120 proof. It was 5 years old, and I wrote bourbon. The first sample is Taconic Cast Strength Bourbon, barrel number 474. The proof on it is 118.4. So I feel like I kind of nailed that one. Now, he doesn't give the ages here. Does not give the ages, so I'm not sure how old that bourbon is, but I'm hoping it's somewhat to what I thought it was. I'll have to ask him what the ages were. Second one, I wrote Weeder. If you remember, I said it was 7 to 8 years old, and I wrote 110 proof. Second one is, I've never even heard of this brand. Has anybody heard of Southern Star Paragon Bourbon Cast Strength? Anyone heard of Southern Star Paragon? Anyone? Hey, what's up, Loch Ness? Nice to see you, man. Anyone heard of Southern Star Paragon? I'm just curious. Yes, no, maybe so? So, here we go. I said weeded bourbon. It's a weeder. It's a weeder. 5.5 years old. So I wrote 7 to 8. I actually thought it tasted older. I wrote 110 proof. It's 111 proof. Yes! So far, so good, guys. So far, so good. Yeah, that tasted like a weeder to me. Okay. This latte chocolatey one, I guess was a rye. I think it's got to be finished with that type of crazy note to it. I thought it was 113 proof. Let's see what it is. Oh no, dude. This is a Good Times. It's a Good Times single barrel bourbon. Really? Finished in Amburana oak and honey. So this is the combo that's in Rio from Penelope. Amburana and honey. I did not get that at all. I did not get that at all. This, yeah, I could see the Amburana now, but it came off. Man, I don't think I've had Amburana that tasted that chocolatey though. That's the difference. Usually Amburana is very heavy cinnamon, graham cracker. That's very chocolatey for an Amburana. Oh man, fucking A. Amburana honey. I wrote 110 proof. It's 116. I didn't write an age for this one, but it's 5.5 years old. Yeah. All right. All right. So D, this was the super floral one that I said tasted like a cocktail. It was very, very bitter heavy. Not a fan. I said it was a rye. I think it's 110 proof. And I thought it was a basket of flowers. That's what I wrote. Number 4 is Dancing Goat Limousine Rye, aged in Limousine Oak. I wrote 110. It's 115. So I was off by about 5.8 proof points. 7 years, 2 months old. So I wrote down 6. So I was pretty close on the age. Oh, shit. Finished in orange bitter barrels. That was the weirdness. And guys, I got to tell you, the Match and Journey Whiskey Club did a pick of this, of the Dancing Goat, and I got to try some of that, and I wasn't a fan then. Still not a fan now. That's what it is. It is orange bitter barrels. That's what I taste. That's, oh my gosh. I knew I'd kind of had that before. Oh man, that is not a finish that should continue on. Just no more bitter finishes. No. No, thank you. It's weird. I mean, I could see if you're going for like a cocktail, but at the same time, no. No, so I got right that it was a rye. I was about 5 points off on the proof. I was 1 year off on the age, and I said it tasted like a cocktail, and that's what it is. It's orange bitter barrels. All right, not bad. Not bad. I'll take that one. All right, last one. I wrote rich. Might be my first or second favorite here. 117 proof. I wrote down bourbon. This is Piedmont Distilling Clover Rye. This is a rye whiskey. Also in North Carolina. Yeah, that does not taste like a rye whiskey at all. I am not getting rye from that. I wrote 117 proof. It's 120 proof, so it's pretty close. I wrote 6 years old. It's 6 years, 4 months old, so got that right. It's MGP rye. This has to be low MGP rye. Who asked me earlier if this was a 51% rye MGPs? That has to be one of them because that does not taste like a 95.5 rye at all. Wow, MGP, but it's aged and bottled in North Carolina. 6 years, 4 months old. Okay. Well, that was interesting. Damn. So this blind was sent in by, oh man, forgetting his name now. Oh, damn it. I'll think the name will come to me. But yeah, all from North Carolina. That's good blind. I feel like I did pretty good on that blind. Maybe aside from the C mess with me. I did not think that was the only thing I got right that it was a rye. I did not think that was some Amburana finish at all. That was a weird one. That was the most chocolatey Amburana finish I've ever had. All right, let me move these here out of the way. All right. Now, real quick, I'm going to do my top bourbons of 2023 or top whiskeys just randomly. Let's go through them here. I have A, B, C, D, and E. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to do another 5 drams here, guys. It's all right. I'm feeling good. I'm a professional. I got this. Let's see which one's my favorite. So, again, if you guys missed it, my girlfriend randomly picked 5 bottles from my top bourbons of 2023, or just my top whiskeys, whatever I showed you here on the floor. We're going to go through, and we're going to see which one of the random 5 end up being my favorite. So I know it's getting late here, guys. It's 10:56. Oh, God. I don't know if I'm going to have time to blow through this real quick. Just stick around here for another, 10 minutes, and we'll go through these here. Okay. This isn't Matt Madness. I'm not going to try and guess what's what. I'm just going to go for what I like and what I think is the best here. And we'll see what comes forward here. Oh. I don't know what that is, but it's got some age. It's got some heavy oak. What the hell do I have down here that has that much of age to it? Man, my money's on OC Batch 14. I don't know if it's in here though. Again, it's random bottles, so we'll see what happens. Oh man, that one's good too. So I'm getting a little marshmallow note. I may know what that is. I'm going to save my guesses. All right, let's go to 3. I think I like 1 over 2 real quick. Bob Glass says, Jason, you have the best content anywhere. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate that. I try. Oh, number 3 though. Number 3 with the sweet, the spicy, caramel heavy, a little bit of butterscotch there too. Man, both of these have a little bit of butterscotch notes. Probably why I like them. They're in the blind. Anyone recommend a Michter's US 1 whiskey? I haven't tried yet. I mean, Mac, have you had the American whiskey? I mean, it's literally drinking vanilla ice cream. That's all it is. If you haven't had the American, it's really good. Oh, another disappointment I do want to talk about real quick. And it's not so much about the bourbon, but about the whiskey or the marketing that was behind it. And that was the Woodford Reserve Historic Barrel Entry Proof. Again, this is where we get into whiskey having more marketing than substance. And while I do like Woodford Reserve and some of the stuff that they put out, their special releases to me for $130, $140, they just need to be more transparent. They don't tell you any age on it. Everything's 90.4 proof. They give a huge song and a dance about what's in the bottle, and it's just I can't wrap my head around it. The historic barrel entry proof. Apparently, they went in the barrel at 100 proof, which is this, just for a little quick history lesson here, guys. If for those of you that are not bored of me by now, back in the day when distillers were selling barrels, they weren't selling bottles of whiskey yet. They were selling barrels of whiskey. This is, kind of pre-prohibition, just right after prohibition. There wasn't really a lot of, they were selling barrels of whiskey rather than bottles of whiskey. So to do that, they would go into the barrel at a lower entry proof. So by the time the whiskey has finished aging, you're not looking at 125 to 150 proof. It's more palatable when you could go in at a low entry proof. It ages over time. It may get lower, it may get higher. Generally, it will get higher, and we'll get to about 105 to 110 proof. So their historic entry proof bottle was what they did to mimic that. So they went in the barrel at 100 proof, ageless whiskey, but they didn't tell us how old it was. They didn't really tell us a lot about it. But they wanted to charge you $130, $140 for it. And while it was I thought it was a nice step up from regular Woodford, but I still don't think it's $140 worth of a bourbon. But on top of that, you have whiskeys today. You have bourbon distilleries today that are going in at a low entry proof already. Michters, that's why I just so happen to be wearing the shirt. They're going in the barrel at 104 proof, 103 proof, and you could get their small batch for $40, $45. If you want to taste something going in a lower entry proof barrel, just buy Michter's small batch. Buy the American whiskey. Buy their rye. If you want to taste something with a low entry proof, just buy Michter's. You could also buy Peerless. They're going in the barrel, I think, lower than 110. There's a lot of folks doing the low entry proof thing. It's not this like crazy idea that, oh my God, you have to buy this bottle that's over $100 because we decided to go into the barrel so low. People are doing it already. Peerless also goes into the barrel at a low entry proof. It may not be 100, but I know it's lower than 110. So there's a lot of brands out there. Peerless, Michters, Wilderness Trail. You want to taste something at a low entry proof? Buy those. You don't have to buy Woodford Reserve for $140. There you go. Yeah, Rare Bird. Some Wilderness Trail Ryes went in 100 proof. I totally get it. Ooh, this is good too. Going in that low is forbidden, right? It's very forbidden. Don't buy that bottle. All right. Ooh. Oh my. That's a banger. This is an absolute brown sugar caramel bomb. A little bit of nuttiness. I'm like, is that a wild turkey? But I don't think I've had a wild turkey yet this year that I've reviewed that I've like been to the moon about quite yet. Russell's picks, obviously for sure, aside from Russell's picks, but as far as like a regular wild turkey release, there really hasn't been much in the beginning of the year. So hoping some of those pick up. Brown sugar caramel sounds like Will It Rye. I was encouraging Michters tasters on the US one. Rarebird 101, we got David Jennings in the house, everybody. David, love you, man. Hope you're doing well. I really hope that your Pride of Anderson County release hasn't hit too many snags. I'm still really looking forward to it. Rarebird says, "Oh, this will be the year for turkey." Yeah, I think so. I think as we get further in the year, the Masters Keep rum finish, which I'm still very skeptical about. More Russell's 13. The what is it? The Generations release, David. That's gonna be. I cannot wait for that release. Single barrel ryes are back. Hopefully, we'll start seeing some of those soon. So it's gonna be a good year for turkey. So yeah, so it's not funky though. It's not Willet funky. So I wouldn't think that's a Willet. All right, last one here. Man, what is that? No idea. These are all really good though. All right, let's try to rank these. Let's find out what these are. This one is just so good. That might be my leader in the clubhouse. I think it's really good. Let's go to number 2 here. Oh man, that is so good too. I have no idea, guys. This is rough. Oh man, this one has all the things though. Getting a little bit of youthfulness though to this compared to these two, for sure. The front of the palate is great, but the back of the palate is a little bit. We'll see. All right, let's go to number 4. Oh man, that's good. I think I like 4 over 3. I'm gonna put that there for now. These might be in the order I like, and then we have this last one. What barrel entry proof on Michters usually? What's barrel entry proof on Michters usually? Yeah, Short Bus Mafia. You're looking at 104 proof for Michters, for sure. Man, and this is just dark fruit forward. Really fruit forward, actually, on this one. Man, I have no idea what was selected here. Oh my gosh. These are all really good. Man, I might like this more than, number. I might like this a little bit more than that one. I'm going to shift that one here. All right, 1 and 2 here, real quick. Oh, man. Man, both of these are stellar whiskeys. I don't know, guys. I think I'm just going to leave it as is. I'm not. These two are really close. Really close. These two. I'll kind of put these as the separators. This is kind of 1A and 1B. These 3 are a little bit lagging behind these 2, but stellar. So, all right, let's see what we got here. Let's just say she left the key. Oh, shit. Where's the key? Is that it? Okay. Oh, thank God. I'm like, she usually puts it here, but we're here. Okay, here we go. Oh man. Some good bottles were picked, guys. We're about to find out. Okay, we're about to find out what's here. Okay. This was my 5th place. again, there's no losers here, but my 5th place tonight, letter B. Are you serious? This is the one that I thought came off youthful once I tasted it against the others. And I'm telling you, blinds don't lie. It's the Old Carter 14. The Old Carter 14 in this blind showed its youth. Holy crap. It's still freaking delicious. But I thought that was going to be a top, at least in the top. But I think this had what happened to Woodford Reserve Batch Proof last year. You put it in a blind against some older whiskeys, and then the youthful note characteristics come out. I think I said I tasted corn, and it's 99% corn. That's what I tasted. Old Carter. All right. 4th place. Oh, shit. What? Really? 4th place. Well, that's not it. Here it is. Elijah Craig A123. 4th place. Elijah Craig A123 gets 4th place in this blind. Crazy. So that means K. Luke, Jack Daniels 12, and Michters 10 is in the top. This has to be the K. Luke. There's no way that it had that much age on it. It's D, which is the K. Luke. K. Luke. Where is it? Here it is. Damn, I revealed already what I read. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't mean to do that. So you had K. Luke as the 3rd place, which is pretty incredible. The other top 2 that she selected were Michters 10 and Jack Daniels 12. So this is a pretty crazy blind. So that means you have 1st and 2nd place here are either Jack Daniels 12 or Michters 10. So, okay. Really? I did not expect that to happen. I didn't think that could happen. Michters 10 just won the blind for me tonight, guys. Jack Daniels 12 got 2nd place. Yeah, Michters 10 lost my last blind, but it won tonight. I don't know. Maybe it just opened up a little bit more. It had a finish to it. I'm telling you, this Michters 10 2023 is no joke, guys. It's no joke. The ECBP A123 reminds me of Heaven Hill from many years ago, Dusty. I agree, Joe. I think that's what makes the A123 special. The B523 is just kind of a mess compared to it. So, wow. Man, she applause to Kim. She picked some good bottles. Thank you so much, babe. I appreciate that. She picked some good ones. ECBP A123, K Luke 4, JD 12, OC 14, and Michters 10. And Michters 10 won tonight for me. I think it was the position Michters 10 was in. I think if Michters 10 was down here, it might not have done that well. But OC 14 going last was a big surprise. JD 12 going 2nd, not a big surprise. K Luke and A123 ECBP really went head to head. So yeah. I'll be obviously revisiting this blind at the end of the year with some other whiskeys that make those top tier placements. But we'll see what happens. And with that, we're gonna call it a night, guys. The Michters 10 is only 94 proof. 90. What does that say? 94.4 proof. That's it. Not surprised about the Old Carter. Yeah, the Old Carter, I think, really. The youthfulness kind of came forward, unfortunately, when you compared it to the others. That's what happened with the Woodford last year, as I mentioned. It's just, I think when you do blinds, this is why you do blind tastings. And this really kind of helped me with some of the anticipation of what's going to happen at the end of the year. but we'll see what happens. There's still, man, turkey bottles need to be added towards the end of the year. Some other new releases coming out. We will see what happens. But this was kind of a fun, kind of a precursor to what could happen at the end of the year. So I really want to thank everyone for watching tonight. Thanks for watching the Master and Drum. Thanks for all the support. Remember, like, subscribe before you take off. As I always say, it's not about the whiskey, it's the people you share it with. Cheers. Love all of you, and I'll see you next week right here. My last week before the finals of Map Madness. I have another very, very difficult blind tasting that's going to be submitted from Bill Kavanaugh, and we'll see how I do. So cheers, and I'll see you guys next week. Let me get my mouse here. Take care, guys. Hope you had fun tonight. I did. Cheers.